WW7ATS.
W7ATL, test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters to Cougar Mountain, which has a crossband repeater that spits out our image at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, Google WW7ATS. That's please Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you'll see the exact frequencies we receive and transmit on. Also, you'll find a link to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08. And note, you will need a tone of 103.5 to communicate with this net. Again, you'll need a KD7ZYM for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. I'll pause momentarily. One, two, three, four, five on the 08 machine. Again, this is Dave. Well, I'll go through it again. We managed to put it on digital video, okay, and got digital audio out. But let's go for the real thing again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater at Cougar Mountain. It spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Also, to find out more about our club, Google WW7ATS. Google WW7ATS. There it will take you to our homepage where you see the exact frequencies we receive and transmit on. Also, you'll find a link to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5. Again, you will need a tone of 103.5 to communicate with our net this evening. So, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll pause momentarily in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM.
Computer, Dave.
And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net Hunt. Dave, KD7ZYM. So far checked in by video link is Ron, KD7QKU. Bob, K9PQ. Richard, K7ITX in Phoenix. Jim, N7QO in Covington. WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. And we got Wade, W7ITL. Also, myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else we missed or needs to sign on? Okay, hearing none. This is Dave, KD7Z.
Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave. Good evening to the group. Nice to see you, Richard. Richard, I saw your, texts and pictures at the baseball game. I was wondering which team you saw play and where you went, so maybe you can tell us. It's been nice days here. We've had some beautiful weather. I spent most of after the net, I went with Wade, and we were going to go to the dump, but that was backed up, so we decided to go to the clubhouse. We went over there for a while, and then we went to Home Depot and messed around, and then he tried to figure out what to do with this door. I don't know if he solved that problem or not. So I didn't do much. I bought an iPad, and I bought a case and a stand for it. It's kind of nice. You can see the notches maybe there in the back, and you can move the arm there and put it in different positions. So I think I'm really going to enjoy that case. So anyway, that's my show and tell for the evening. So let's turn it back to Dave from KD7QKU.
7QKU, thanks for that. Let's pick up Bob in Bothell, K9PQ. Oops, switched to the wrong video input there. Okay, so that still you saw was, of course, Sparky. That's from a few years ago. Another one of my favorite pictures. Let's see. Well, we had our meeting this morning, of course, and I thought it went very well, and we're making just outstanding progress, thanks to Wade and Carlos primarily, and Rob too, I think, on the repeater. Just really pleased with everything that's going on. One thing I'll mention that was mentioned in the meeting is, I'll be switching people in through Discord tonight that need to be as usual, but do check out Wade's instructions on how you can use this app called OBS so that you can send your signal up directly. He's got detailed instructions on how to do that, and it'd be really nice to just ditch Discord altogether for the nets. So I'll leave it at that. I've got show and tell, but I've got to go get it, so I'll save that for the next time. Back to net, K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks with that. Well, let's make a long distance trip. X.
Okay, well, hi everyone. Richard down here in K7ITX with his sister Donna from Winthrop, Washington. Yes, we did go to the Mariners spring training in a game that they lost against the Oakland Athletics, but it was just fun to get out in the sun and go I think maybe even close to 90 in that game that we went to. But so my sister Donna's here. Well, Debbie is in Kent, getting the house all fixed up for our move. We're moving back at the end of March, so she's getting that all squared away with trials and tribulations. I'd hate to admit, partly my fault, but just how it goes. And Donna's husband, my brother-in-law, Herb, is driving down. Just all of a sudden got a wild hair to drive down from Winthrop. And he's in Ely, Nevada right now. And I think his next stop is Caesar's Palace tomorrow. So that was my recommendation. We'll see if he follows through. So that's it here from the warm climate of Phoenix. K7ITX, back to net control.
And thanks with that. Now, coming up next in Tacoma is Wade, W7ITL.
All right, well, let's see if I can get my audio working. Okay, my audio is working. Whoa, I have a smoke detector going off. I'm gonna cut it short here and say I'll get back to you guys in just a few minutes while I figure out where the smoke alarm is going off in my house. I'll be right back.
And for a quick ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine for an ID. So we passed over Wade. We'll get him to the next round. Let's go to Jim in Covington, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, I'm not receiving decent pictures from or decent video from our ATV repeater. Right now there's a picture of Wade frozen on my screen. I saw two pictures of Dick. I saw one picture of Bob, and I saw one half of a picture of Ron. So the video which I'm receiving from our television repeater on 1.2 gigahertz is in and out for me tonight, and it's far more out than it is in. But that's what's going on here. Let's see. So, yeah, Ron, you were asking the Mariners. They were playing down there in the Phoenix area. I think it's in Peoria, but I'm not real sure. But anyway, in the Phoenix area, and the Mariners were playing the Chicago White Sox, and the Mariners lost. The score was 18-9. But they're there anyway, and yeah, I didn't get to see all of your iPad. It looked, Ron, like you were holding something up, which I assume was an iPad, but anyway, hope you have fun with that. What I liked about the iPad is the colors were absolutely brilliant. Did like the display on the iPads. Bob, thanks for mentioning something about that app. I will be interested in that. Thanks for everyone working on our television repeater. I'm looking forward to improvements on it. If there's anything I can do to help, I don't know about running to the repeater site, but if you need anything, maybe including that, you can ask me, and I'll say no if I can't make it. Dick, good to hear from you. Good to see what I saw of you here. I'm glad that your sister's in town, and I'm sure Debbie's busy getting things together. Let's see. Right now I'm showing 50 degrees at the house here just south of Covington, and today the high temperature here at the house reached 64. I've been mainly doing some yard work, actually yesterday and today, and so I'm a little on the hoarse side. I don't know if it's an allergic reaction or what, but it seems like the older I get, the more being outside seems to bother me around here. I blew away a whole bunch of needles and dust and debris all over the property, and I'm sure I inhaled some of it. So my eyes are bothering me, my throat's bothering me, my nose is bothering me, and that's just the way it goes. Back to Dave and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. Now let's go to James in Northeast Bellevue. WU7N.
Cougar Mountain is showing great amounts of personality tonight. This is James, WU7N in Bellevue, Northeast Bellevue. Well, Jim, I've got a suggestion for you. Next time you blow stuff around, you need to get one of these here. This is what I wore during COVID and covered it up with a T-shirt, and it's really effective gets a really good tight seal around your nose and mouth. You can zoom in there and see that. Ooh, look at that. It's like probably a little too much realism there. And these canisters, though, I can't find replacement canisters for them. So I guess they want you to buy an entire new mask. The new ones are flatter and don't have this big thing sticking out the side. So we'll see. Envious, that looks like a very fun iPad toy there. Those look very similar to what they put in the radio room where I do some volunteer public service. But I'm sure that iPad is far more powerful and can do a lot more things. So I think the more you learn about it, the more you'll be surprised at just how much computing power it was. Think about it. In your lifetime, we've gone from almost having no computer power on the planet to that much that you hold in your hand and show all over the world. That's just absolutely blows my mind. I wonder where we'll be in another lifetime. I had an absolutely wonderful drive, and good friend gave me something. That gave me a solar cell that I anticipate putting to use just as soon as I can get a regulator. It puts out about 350 milliamps at 24 volts, and what I need is 12 volts regulated and 5 volts regulated, and the 5 volts regulated, of course, is to charge all of the iPhones and power packs and flashlights and everything else that we now charge off 5 volts. And the 12 volts is because I'm antiquated and I have a bunch of old stuff that takes 12 volts. So the question I'm putting out to the group tonight, would you use a linear regulator for that, or would you use a microcontroller chopped circuit as like a buck converter to do that, which are supposed to be more efficient? So if anybody has opinions on that for solar cells, let me know. I haven't done any research at all on it yet. I also look forward to using the OBS, Oscar Bravo Sierra app. I think that's going to be really neat. That could really open it up to a lot of people. Anyone out there listening? I still have been a little bit busy. I've not fully got my DAB WW7ATS dongle, fully functional with the very high gain 12 gig 1200 megahertz Yagi that I have here. I'm still trying to figure out a way to do that with minimum RF loss. But we did get it to work once up at the site when, you know, it was just right up the antenna. So I'm sure it works. I'm sure the software and the hardware works. Let's see, other exciting things that have happened. The programmable unit junction transistors I ordered, gosh, a couple months ago. They finally arrived. They made it before the tariffs hit, so I'm happy about that. I paid top dollar for them because I was hoping that if I paid top dollar, that is $1 each, for the 10 units, that I would actually get what I ordered. The problem with ordering semiconductors from that side of the world is half the time you don't even get anything close to what you ordered. It just says that printed on the outside. I salute that entrepreneurial spirit, but it sure is annoying when you order something like an 8088 microprocessor, and you just get like a chip, and it might not even have the right number of pins on it, but it'll say 8088 on the top. So anyway, I got those, and as all of you know, the programmable unit junction transistors are essentially the same thing as a silicon-controlled rectifier, only different. Anyway, this is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Let me turn it back to our net control Dave for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
WU7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'll pause momentarily in case anybody wishes to check in with the net. Hearing none, again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. I got 50 degrees and cloudy outside. Well, I did have Discord collapse on me, so I tried to reset it, and it came back up, and it gave me no audio. It said an administrator has blocked my audio for some reason, so I don't know why that happened, but on Discord I can't activate audio. It says an administrator needs to activate that. So anyway, that's what happened when I redid Discord this evening. So that's about it. I worked in the basement a little bit today, got rid of a few things, and so that's about it. It's been kind of a quiet day and enjoyed the weather. Like every day's a holiday when you're retired. So I'm going to send it back up to Ron with his brand new toy iPad, KD7ZY.
Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU again. Well, Dave, your audio was on and off on your computer, but it's off now. It's muted now, so that's good. And Jim, N7QO, if you have an iPad, you can download, Discord, and you can have it on your iPad. I downloaded it and I've got it on mine. And I had it on in here a few minutes ago, but when I had the camera on, it lost the picture over here. Discord stayed on my laptop, but and then when I come over here and got Discord going again on the laptop, I looked over at the iPad and it was off on the iPad. So I shut the iPad off. Anyway, and I don't know, Jim, N7Q, I don't know what channel you're receiving on. I was receiving on 62, and Wade suggested that I drop down to 20, and so I've been on 20, and it's working good. So you might try 20 if you're not using 20. So yeah, that's a kind of a hard case for the iPad, and then like I say, it has a stand on it. It's magnetic, so the little arm stays in place pretty good. So I think I'm going to like it. It was about $20, but I think it was well worth it. I think it'll make it a lot more enjoyable. I plan on looking at it in the mornings when I'm out in the kitchen drinking coffee and listening to the ham radio. Do all kind of things at once. So anyway, we'll see what the world is doing out there. All right, back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Hello again, everybody. So first thing I'll get out of the way, Dave, yeah, the audio thing is I muted you because you didn't mute your microphone. So if you mute yourself, I'll undo it's called a server mute, which is something that I can do. So I will get that done. Let's see, what else do I have? Richard, yeah, really hot at the baseball game. Man, you know, I was tempted to say I'll take your weather over mine, but boy, when it starts getting close to 90, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would. Yeah, Jim, inhaled stuff. You know, you just remind me of something. This is going back into the 80s, and a coworker and I went out to a grain plant where they were unloading and loading grain onto rail cars and ships. I think it was between rail cars and ships. So they had these very, very tall silos, and the grain was going in and out all the time, and so there was grain dust everywhere. You didn't see it, and I didn't really think about it much, but by the end of the day, I was just feeling wiped out, fatigued, like I had no clue what was going on. And my coworker, who had been wearing a mask all day, said, well, that's because your sinuses are full of grain dust and you're not getting enough oxygen. So sure enough, we went back out the next day. I wore a mask and no problem at all. So that was a lesson to me. I was like, oh, I'm tough. I don't need a mask. What do you mean, a mask? But in that case, it made a huge difference. Let's see. Yeah, tech in our lifetimes. I just happened to see something interesting today. It was an article about this new Mariana, I think, or I forget what it's called, but it's their new chip for doing quantum computing, and it's really interesting stuff. I mean, it's in the very early stages, but if it pans out, it looks like it may really open the door for quantum computing because it doesn't require the sort of thousands of qubits or thousands of, I don't know what the right term is, thousands of units to create one qubit. And anyway, it gets into a lot of technical stuff, but I found it fascinating. As for solar cells and electronics, you're already way beyond me there, James. I think whenever there's a solar cell, I just look for something that is made for controlling solar cells and just buy that. So, and then, finally, my show and tell. With getting this pods container coming, I bought myself a very nice lock. It's an ABUS, what's it called? I forget what it is, 58292. I don't know what that means, but it's one of their nice locks. It's made in Germany. ABUS makes very, very nice locks, and so that's for locking the pods container when it's out in my driveway, which it should be soon. And I think that's it for now. So I will send it back. K9PQ.
Thanks with that. Well, let's see. We're going to make a trip again coming up to W7ATS.
All right, test 1, 2, 3. You guys hear me? Okay, there we go. Let me mute this so I can mute myself here. So today's been pretty busy. Like Ron said, I went to the Radio Club of Tacoma with Ron, and after that, we did try to go to the dump. After we visited that, sorry, I was only putting my audio into the digital side. So Let's see. Back to what I was saying. We went to Home Depot to get some parts for a door that I am securing in our basement. It's for our renters, and I got that installed today. Ron was able to supply me some fasteners, and I drilled a hole into the top plate of the door so that the lock could secure the door. There's a bottom, kind of like it's called a cane bolt. I did not install that today. I need one of those rotor hammer drills so I could drill into the cement so I can secure the bottom plate. So I'll be doing that hopefully, I don't know, next day or so. Let's see. Other
Cabling in my new ham radio. Oh, that was weird.
is my video. Oh, my video's coming back. As I was saying, I did some recabling of my station here today. I had some really kind of shorter runs that were causing some of the equipment on my desk not to reach, and it was causing some long cables that were going draping across my windows outside. And so now they're all nicely draped on a single path down and over to my new ingress point in my station, and I got that all set up just right before the net. As Bobhead was talking about, Carlos and I are working on getting a internet feed for folks that don't have a good RF or don't have the proper equipment to do DATV into the repeaters. So stay tuned for that. We'll be able to get folks in over OBS and using RTMP streams into the repeater, and it'll go out on the 23 centimeter output and over the internet. Let's see, that's about it for this round. I'm sure there'll be some more things to talk about on the next round. This is W7ITL, back to net control.
W7ITL. Now we'll take a trip down to Arizona to Richard, K7ITX. What say you, Richard?
Well, I say W7ITL has really got his hands full and is doing a great job. I'll say that much for sure. And just so you know, I see Carlos lurking in audio only. He's on Echolink. I see his name there, so you might want to see if he has anything to say. And I think you might have saw Mika, a brief flash of Mika. She always has to make an appearance, it seems like, no matter what. The other, Ron, I missed all your audio. So I don't know why, for whatever reason, I missed all of your audio. So if you ask me any questions or any comments for me, I can't talk back about it. And let's see. Oh, and Donna, my sister, is the first one to probably swim in the our swimming pool twice, actually. None of the pools in Arizona generally are heated. They're all unheated. So people usually don't go swimming until, it gets really, really hot and the water's been warmed up by the sun. Well, Donna, being from Winthrop and swimming in Lake Chelan, she said it can't be colder than that. And so evidently it wasn't, because she did. So I thought that was really fun, and I was proud of her. Probably one of the funnest things I did so far with her is we did a supermarket sweep today at the grocery store. We were just grabbing things off the shelf, no matter of the price or if it was good for your health or bad for your health. We just swept through that place. And then I handed her my credit card, and I didn't look, I didn't care. And it was, and then we had a huge spaghetti dinner with all the trimmings, garlic bread. The salad was fantastic. So I'm really enjoying her company. She's taking really good care of me. So that's it from Phoenix, Arizona. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. Well, let's pick up Jim in Covington, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, I did not get to see a picture of that mask, but I can imagine what you're talking about. Yeah, you know, it never really occurred to me to wear a mask while I'm doing yard work because none of my neighbors do. But yes, wearing a mask does sound like a really good idea. I can imagine what you're describing, and the only suggestion I would have is that you can try, there's one company that has some products like that. It's called Grainger, Grainger. They may be able to help you. Solar cells, I don't know. I have not looked into them at all. Can't help you with that. Let's see, Ron. I do not have an iPad. I had one when I was working. It was issued to me, and unfortunately I had to turn it in when I retired, and I just couldn't see spending the money for one after I retired. So I have this from like 2 generations before what the company got rid of. They just sold them off to the employees for, I think, $75 or so. So I got that. It's a Microsoft Surface, and it usually works. So I don't know, but my wife's been using it to do her Zoom meetings. Let's see. Yeah, Ron, you were asking about receiving on some different channel or something. Don't know what to make of that. I just have my decoder set up to receive whatever weight's set up, and it looks like it tries to work. It used to work just fine for several nets, but I think they've been making some changes to the 1.2 gigahertz transmitter, so I haven't been picking it up all that well lately. Let's see. Bob, I remember hearing somewhere that dust from those grain elevators can be flammable. It can cause explosions if it builds up too much in some of the silos and then has some ignition source. So if you go around somewhere, watch out for that. Wade, I saw a picture of you at 30 minutes past the hour. I saw a picture of you on my display, and the picture was showing 11 minutes past the hour for the time. And then my screen's been going on and off a little bit. Right now, I have a black screen, but that's what I'm seeing now. Dick, glad Donna is there helping you out. That's great. Shopping, give her unlimited access to your credit card. Boy, that's dangerous. That sounds more like a wife to me. but it sounds like she's taking good care of you, so that's good. And yeah, someone should form, there's this polar bear club for people who jump into cold water. Someone ought to think about forming a polar bear club in the Phoenix area there. Jump into the water when it's not pleasantly warm. Just a thought. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO. Well, let's go to Northeast Bellevue to James. WU7N, and I got to get a quick ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. So take it away, James.
Thank you, Dave. This is James, WU7N, Northeast Bellevue. Well, Richard, it must just be in the air to go crazy in the grocery store. I went to PCC Whole Foods today, walked in there, went all the way to the back, because it hit me that they had to shut down all of their bulk sale items during COVID. And I went back and I saw that they have it back now, that they have these bins. And, there's all sorts of healthy stuff that you can just get giant scoops of and put into a bag and then buy it. Of course, I passed by all that and went straight to the malted milk balls, the peanut butter flavored ones, and went nuts and got them and just bought a whole sack of them and just threw my credit card down and paid, 38 cents each for the yummy, delicious treats and consumed them all in a gluttonous orgy. So yeah, it must really be just out of control spending at grocery stores going on right now. Jim, thank you for the pointer to Granger. I hadn't thought of them, and they might be a good source for this. The problem with Granger is they always have it. It's just a question of how much are you willing to pay. It's kind of like a company that it just has such an apropos name called Tacoma Screw. No, I'm not making that up. That's really their name. And, if you need some kind of bizarre reverse thread metric bolt, and you know the company that makes it, they usually have it or can get it for you. And then, but before they'll give it to you, they just take you back to the second mortgage counselor in the office there, and you could talk for a while and see how much that bolt's going to cost you. But yeah, Granger is a good pointer because if anybody would have it. Also, I think a good thing that has come about just maybe in the last 10 years, but maybe COVID forced this a lot, is the threads on a lot of the filters on a lot of respirators and masks. It's my understanding that they're kind of standardized now, at least in the Western world. In the United States, I think the United States put out a new system. It can be a gas mask. It can be a positive pressure respirator, so you could wear it like if you were fighting fires in a ship or something. They tried to standardize a lot of that, and I'm sure whatever the thread is, everyone agreed to use the same thread, because I do recall reading a specification that said something about that. So I don't know if my made in China is that thread or not, but anyway, the next one probably will be. Also, I was going to say, Richard, if you have relatives coming and cooking for you, then they need to visit me here in Bellevue, too. Usually whenever my relatives, come around town, it's the other way around. So that sounds like wonderful time spent, well time spent. And Bob, dust explosions, my goodness, you bring back a memory to me. For 1 year, I went to a junior high school in Burke Burnett, Texas. And it was like stepping back in a time machine. Every time I got on the bus, I felt like it wasn't the 70s anymore, it was the 30s. And, they were teaching all sorts of useful stuff, like how to use a tractor to pull out a stump without flipping the tractor over on yourself and killing yourself. And dust explosions. I remember we had, talk about that. And, dust explosions are only a problem if there's a source of ignition, such as, smoking, a hot manifold from a car, sparks from power tools. None of those things are ever around a farm or a granary or a grain storage facility, so I don't think you have to worry too much about that. And, this was the 70s. They hadn't caught up to that Surgeon General's warning yet. Everyone was still smoking like a chimney. So, that was useful. And, of course, the demo was done with things left out. And I think the science guy that did the demo actually asked me not to point out all the things that were left out in the demo because he thought I would figure them out, which I of course did. And he asked me not to make a big deal of all the things that he left out on that. So anyway, that was a blast from the past memory there. Thanks. Dust explosions. Okay, well, I see we got about 15 minutes left. Let me turn it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Anybody's welcome to join in. Carlos is lurking on Echolink. We should ask him if he has anything to say.
Thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's see if we can pick up Carlos, 87NP on Echolink. Not hearing anything. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. Well, it's dropped down at 1 degree. I got 49 degrees and cloudy outside. But if you're looking for filters for those masks, before I retired from television news where we had to buy filters for tear gas for our masks, we went to a place called Seattle Industrial Supply Company. So I don't know if it's still in existence or not, but that we were able to get a variety of filters that you needed that would screw into those full face masks with a big housing over your eyes. So anyway, that information I can pass on. Maybe they're still there, or maybe they don't exist anymore, but it's been quite a few years back. Well, with that, let's move up to the top to Mr. New iPad, Ron, KD7.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. Jim N7QO. I forgot you weren't transmitting. I was talking about, I guess, transmitting on different frequency. Yeah, I guess we're all receiving on 90, but we can transmit on 20 and 62. And Wade had me switch over to 20, and I think it did help. I think my picture's more stable now. And yeah, there was a place in Seattle too called Rice Safety Equipment or Safety Supply, and they sold those things. But also automotive supply store sells those filters for a lot of masks too. So you can look at an automotive supply store and they might have the screw-in canisters for your mask. Yeah, you were talking about bulk foods. So the thing that we buy in bulk foods is the dark chocolate covered almonds, and man, they're almost addictive. They're about $6 a pound or something, and you know, I mean, I could buy a pound or two of them every time I go over there. So we try to limit ourselves to them, and when we bring them out, you can only have a half a dozen, and you have to kind of quit. But man, we used to try to just eat 3. You know, like after dinner we'd have 3. So, you know, I can't just eat 3. I gotta have at least 6. And our, you know, Joanne's sister, they have the same thing, and it's the same way over there. When their grandkids come, they hit them pretty hard. They like them too, but yeah, they're pretty good. Well, I don't have a whole lot more. I'm glad to hear that Wade maybe got his door secured. Jiminy Christmas, I kind of did the same thing, and I rented one rotor hammer, and it was too small. It wouldn't drill in my cement. I wanted to secure the bottom of my gate with one of those pins that drops down in a hole, and I had to go back and get a bigger rotor hammer. And then the one I got was a monster, and it made a hole right now. But they were nice. Oh, there's Carlos. I think he just showed up. Okay, well, let me get off of here and let him get on. Back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU. Well, we see Carlos has joined us, 87NP. Go ahead, Carlos.
AD7NP.
proficient as Richard on this. I did came to his region. I'm in Palm Springs this evening. Unfortunately, not enjoying the same weather as Richard. There's some kind of a desert storm here, and I don't mean a military operation, but just some sand in the air and some strong winds. But I'm down here for another horse show with my young daughter, and I'll be going back this evening. Yeah, I tried, Dave. I did hear you on the first call. I tried to transmit, but again, not as proficient as Richard on this, so a little bit of an issue. Wade, I did got your message about some more bugs to fix on the software, but seems like from what I can see, seems like folks are working well. In a few minutes, maybe after the net is done, I'll try to do the OBS transmission directly into the repeaters to see how that works. Thank you very much for the opportunity to jump in. I've now lived the Richard style. It's pretty good. And back to net control if I be.
87 NP, thanks with that. And let's go to Bothell to Bob, K9PQ.
Glad to have you joining us tonight. So let's see. Well, I made a lot of notes about dust. Dust is the theme tonight, apparently. I'll start with my favorite, the explosions. Yeah, so we were working up at the top of a, I'm sure you've seen them, it's like 20 silos, 10 by 2 silos, all in a long row, all concrete, and we were installing or servicing measurement equipment that would sit at the top of the silo and measure how much grain was in the silo. And so, yeah, what I found out about these explosions, a couple of things. First of all, the ignition point usually was bad bearings on the conveyor belt. Somewhere there would be bad bearings, they'd get hot, and kaboom. The other one is, it wasn't just kaboom, it was kaboom and then huge kaboom, because what would happen is, you've got all of this dust that's been building up, and just sitting up there above the top of the silos in sort of the covered, little house up there. And the first explosion, it causes all of the dust that's been sitting there to go up into the air, and then that explodes, and that's the huge explosion, and that will level things like that. I mean, it's just devastating. So, so that was always fun, it's like living dangerously a little bit on that job. Obviously, we didn't have any problems, and I think they try to keep on top of it, but it's the usual thing. It's those places that don't keep on top of it that have the problems. Another option to check for masks is paint stores. I know they have those kind of canister masks. I don't know if they have the kind that you're using, but just one more option to check. And as for the general stuff working outdoors, Jim, I started taking Zyrtec, but basically it's the Costco brand of Zyrtec called Allertec. It's the same exact medicine, and I take it daily, and I think it has helped me a lot. I was starting to get a lot of sniffles and just congestion, and I think it has helped me a lot. So that's something to consider as well. Malted milk balls. For me, it's the truffles, the Lindor truffles. Oh, yum, with the dark chocolate. That's it. And I try to limit myself to 2 a day, and I usually don't succeed in limiting myself to 2 a day. And let's see, what did I wrote down firefighters. Oh, the threading. Yeah, that's interesting on the threading for firefighters. I wonder if that's part of what came out of 9/11 with all the standardization that they came out with for, with a lot of radio stuff, as we know with hams, there's the famous thing of the bus miscommunication, where, you know, in New York City, bus means ambulance. In the rest of the world, bus means bus. And so they would be saying, send us a bus, meaning send us an ambulance, and a bus would show up. So that happened during 9/11. I just assume everyone's heard that one. That's kind of the big one that happened. That was a real big problem, and that's where a lot of the a lot of the stuff that we have for emergency communications comes from, out of trying to get that all standardized, so people are speaking the same language and using the same structure, so that if somebody helps somebody else out, they know what they're doing and they're all kind of fitting in together. Okay, I probably have more to say, but it's close to being done. I want to let others have a chance. Back to net, K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks with that. And let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Well, wow, we're right in the middle of watching Western Washington University against Northwest Nazarene, 81-77, 1 minute, 2 seconds left. Western is down. It's a real close game. We've seen my son and his wife in the crowd several times tonight, but we never realized or thought that the game would be this close. So that being said, we're going to just say 73 and watch and root for Western to win with a minute to go. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. And let's pick up Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
As I was transmitting my audio over the
Over the DATV repeater, so I'll turn back to Dave, W7ITL.
W7ITL, thanks with that. And closing out the net, let's go to Covington Jim, N7QO.
Yeah, 7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, Wade, my picture, my 1.2 gigahertz picture is frozen now at 53 minutes past the hour. The bottom half of my picture is showing Bob, and the top half of my picture is showing Carlos. That's what's going on here. Let's see. Jim, Tacoma screw. Yeah, that sounds funny. They helped me out a couple of times. I just needed like one or two of a particular screw. I think I had one that was a metric thread, and they just gave them to me. I'll go there. I'll patronize them. Let's see. Oh, Ron, I cannot have just 3, maybe 30, but oh well. Carlos, stormy in Palm Springs. Hang on to your hat over there. Yeah, it can be like that. Bob, Zyrtec, Allertec. I'm not sure I can take those when I'm flying. Just something, and also where I grew up, when I hear the word bus for ambulance, I never never would have thought of that. Where I grew up, if they wanted an ambulance, they called it a meat wagon. Don't know exactly how they originated that, but that's what I got. Anyway, thank you everyone for participating. Hope to catch you next net. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. It's been a great net tonight. Enjoyed everybody checking in and listening to the different stories they had to tell. And in closing out the net, we need to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association. WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for our nets. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, signing off the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.
7NJO with info.